he can reach out to the guy and be like, hey, listen, bygones be bygones. You want to jam. Like, I have no issue with that.
Want to jam?
Yeah. It's all about jamming, though. There's nothing else. They finish jamming, they go home, they're separate ways.
Dear Shandy. Welcome back to Dear Shandy, listeners. Hello, Andy.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Caller day.
Good. Yes.
Good day.
Yeah.
It's a good day, right?
I love caller day. I'm not just saying that.
I do too.
It's my favorite type of recording to do.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Look at us.
We agree again.
We are joined today by a lovely caller named Sally.
Sally. Mustang Sally. Who else? What other songs have Sally in them? Any other ones?
I don't know that song.
It's the only one I know.
How does it go?
Don't do that.
Why draw attention to the song if you're not going to serenade
No
us?
singing today.
Okay. All right. Sally, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Do you mind giving us your age, the ages of anyone in the story, your city or region, whatever you're comfortable sharing, and your story, please?
Yeah. So this story actually happened about 6 or 7 years ago, but it keeps coming up recently, and I'll tell you why in a second. So at the time, I was in my late 20s, and so was my husband, who was just my boyfriend at the time. And the two other people in the story were in their late 30s. They're about 10 years older than us. And we live in, well, at the time we lived in a large Canadian city of about 1 million people. And so basically the story is that my husband was in a band at the time. And he would sometimes tell me about situations where he either heard like stories about or actually witnessed one of the band members cheating on his wife. So I didn't really think much of it at the time because the band members were like, I was just casual friends with them. I would see them at shows or at like big parties. And I wasn't friends at all with the wives. So I didn't really do anything with that information. However, over the years of them being in a band together, we started to get much closer with some of the band members. This band member in particular, we'll call him Drummer. So the drummer and his wife would come to parties at our house, and they started meeting some of our other friends that wouldn't come to shows normally. And one of my girlfriends in particular became very close with the drummer's wife. So then one day, my friend, the close friend of mine, she had told me that she was starting to hear like a lot of stories from the drummer's wife about how he didn't treat her very nicely. He was kind of like misogynistic towards her and stuff. And again, I didn't really do anything with that information at the time. But then there was one night where they invited me to dinner, and it was just the drummer's wife and my close friend. And during this dinner, she was basically crying the whole dinner, the drummer's wife. Yeah. And she was talking about how she thinks the drummer's cheating on her, but she's not really sure. And she feels crazy, and it's killing her inside not knowing. And basically what she's describing is that he's like gaslighting her into believing that, there's something wrong with her for thinking that he's cheating. And so obviously I know about the cheating, and I'm sitting there, and it just like kills me to not tell her. Like I have to tell her. So I end up telling her that I know that the drummer is cheating on her. And I don't tell her exactly how I know or like the specifics of anything, but I guess it's pretty obvious kind of how I would have learned that information. So anyways, that pretty much directly resulted in the drummer and his wife getting a divorce about 2 months later. So that's kind of part one of the story. Basically, what happened after that is the drummer cut off contact with all of us. The band broke up. He deleted us all off social media, and none of us really talked to him after that. So now fast forward to today, like 7 years later.
Well, just to break in there, you did the right thing.
Yeah.
By the way.
If this is an "Am I the asshole?" question,
you're not the asshole.
You're not the asshole.
You would have been the asshole not to tell her.
Yeah.
There are certain situations I think where you just have to not say it. It depends on the relationship, but in this situation, 100% no regrets. You did the right thing, and you saved her a lot of trouble, and you made her life better.
Were you feeling like the asshole?
Kind of. I mean, not really at the time. I mean, yeah, like, because I didn't really want to get involved, right?
Yeah.
Like I was I don't like getting involved in people's business. And, some people could perceive that as like I broke them up.
Well, you did work. You sacrificed a little part of yourself to make the world a better place. And that often doesn't feel great.
If
at
anyone
first.
broke them up, it was Drummer.
Yeah, you were just a vehicle. You were an angel for her in a way.
Well, okay, so I want to hear.
Anyway, that's not
so
the
you
point.
said that was 6 or 7 years
just
ago.
wanted
And
to
so
make sure you
this
didn't feel
is
bad about that.
resurfacing now. I'm curious how and why.
Yeah, so my husband and I have moved to a smaller town outside the city that has about 1% of the people that the city has. So it's about 10,000 people instead of 1 million people.
Oh.
And who do we keep bumping into but Drummer? So it turns out, I guess he also moved here because I don't know why we would keep bumping into him.
Oh, you should have done that research before you moved.
I think we moved before he did because it wasn't right away that we started bumping into him. But so I claim, I get to stay if anyone.
Yeah, you're grandfathered in.
Yeah, so we see him pretty often, like once every month or two, like at the grocery store, or it turns out he's going to the same gym as me. So I see him at the gym. And it's really awkward because every time we see each other, we kind of avoid each other. Like at one point we made direct eye contact and then he just looked away and kind of walked away. And so every time this comes up, like every time we see him together, or if I come home from the gym and I tell my husband, hey, guess who I saw? It comes up again about how he kind of wishes he didn't break the bro code by telling me. Because then maybe he could still be friends with this guy and still be playing music with him. Because in our smaller town, it's a lot harder to find people to play music with. My husband's not in a band anymore, but he still loves to play music. So he's kind of like, oh, I wish I didn't tell you. And yeah, so.
Does he blame you?
That's a tough one. No, he can't blame you. He can't blame you. He should blame himself. He should blame himself. I mean,
no, the person who deserves to be blamed is Drummer. I'm sorry.
No, I know,
it doesn't sound like he was even being discreet.
The drummer? Yeah, definitely not.
So as far as you know, he wasn't even being discreet. It's like, I know that your husband knew because of his proximity, but like, I'm sorry. It'd be one thing if his wife had no idea she was living in a state of complete and utter marital bliss and she thought everything was fine, in which case there could be an argument to be made that like maybe he's going through a band phase and, like he actually really loves his wife and he's just getting his rocks off and he really loves her. He's going to like, that's just a phase and he's just going to
rock star.
There's still arguments to be made that she should still know. Many people would say that, but in this case, she's crying. She feels gaslit. Yeah. He's making her feel crazy.
Exactly.
How is Drummer's wife doing today?
Well, that's kind of interesting too, because we don't talk as much because she moved away after a while. But she's married and has a kid now with someone.
Oh my God.
Right.
Okay.
Another winner.
Ding, 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 ding. We need to get a bell.
Yeah,
ding,
we're
ding,
talking
ding.
about getting a bell.
Okay.
So Charlene is 100% right. I get the bro code. And there is something to say about what happened there. Like, he's in a band. Guys in a band, they do things. I don't know. That's a stereotype, I guess, but it happens. And I guess there is some degree of like breaching a code by saying that. But first of all, it's definitely not your fault.
No.
If anything, it's his fault, but it's barely his fault. The fact of the matter is there was a problem here. It wasn't that, as Charlene said, this guy was just getting his rocks off, but was very loyal and faithful and good
in
to
a
this
different
woman.
way. It was
Yeah. It wasn't that at all. In which case, I don't think you should have said anything.
Well, there's,
but
you're gonna get
she
varying
wouldn't have been
opinions on
telling you the things she was telling you had that been the case. You see what I'm saying? So the only reason you said it is because she was saying the things, and the things she was saying were because the relationship was messed up and his cheating was not isolated to just recreational cheating.
No.
It was affecting the relationship. So,
and it sounds like he was even separate from the cheating. He wasn't treating her well.
He wasn't treating her well to the point where she's sobbing and talking to her friends about it. Everyone did the right thing on your side of the family.
Yeah, including your husband.
And look what happened because of it. Now she's happy with the family. No one should be blaming themselves. Except for your husband, maybe. I don't know.
No, Drummer.
No. Only in the most bro-y locker room way that I don't approve of.
Is a baby.
Yes.
It sounds like he feels ashamed.
Yes.
If he even is capable of that emotion. And he's just like lashing out. He's punishing everyone else for his bad behavior. The fact that he has not rekindled things with your husband, or just even been like amicable. So you're telling me that even if they see each other, there's no acknowledgement?
Yeah, like he also deleted my husband off social media.
Okay,
He doesn't
this
acknowledge him
man-
either.
Oh my God,
for you
good
guys.
riddance.
Good. You know what? He's doing you guys a favor by not even confronting, by ignoring and just sort of not making eye contact, looking away. He's doing you a favor. He's not even confronting. You could be dealing with a guy who's confronting you every day. Like, hey, that thing you did to me, I'm going to get you back for that. He's not even, he's pulling a full Canadian awkward silence, which I totally, this is the best case scenario. Forget about him. Make believe he doesn't exist. He's a ghost. He had a choice. He could have not kept it in his pants and been really good to his wife. Okay, that's fine. You know, it's not good, not ideal. I'm not approving of that. But in that case, maybe you guys shouldn't have said something to him.
Debatable.
But he did it. Debatable. And that's a long debate. But he didn't. He was an asshole to his wife and he was cheating on her. You did them all a favor. He's the bad guy. He did nothing right. He has no right to be angry at you. He's angry at you by proxy. He's angry at himself.
He's angry at himself.
He hates himself. And he's like, oh, well, it's her fault. Or it's his fault. It's that guy's fault, and he knows it.
He is incredibly unenlightened, this guy.
Yeah, and he's still
drummer
there.
guy. The fact that he's blaming anyone but himself, I mean, he's a child.
This guy's lost.
Wait, so I'm realizing, Sally, that we never got the concrete question. We just dove in. Was there a question?
I think we know
did
the question.
Did we accidentally answer it?
Well, I had actually sort of 3 questions about it, but you pretty much answered 2 of them.
Okay.
But I'll just tell you what they were. So the first one was an am I the asshole question.
No.
Am I the asshole for telling her, or is my husband the asshole for telling me?
No.
Not in this situation in any way whatsoever.
No. And I got to quickly add that it shows how misogynistic Drummer is, that he felt that his friend should not tell his wife. It's like as if bro code is going to get ahead of like a marriage.
Yeah.
Like you are husband and wife.
Right.
It shows that he doesn't understand a husband-wife relationship in the way it's meant to be understood.
why
If he
did he
can't
wanna-
understand why his friend would tell his wife.
Yeah, and why do you want to preserve his shitty marriage? Like, why was he so worried about his terrible marriage falling apart? Like, anyway.
Okay.
Forget about question number 1 is ridiculous.
Yeah.
What's
Next question.
question number 2 is what?
Well, question number 2 was basically question number 3 was should he rekindle a friendship? Like, should my husband try to reach out to rekindle a friendship?
No. No.
I don't think so.
No.
I think that if anyone should be making any effort, it's Drummer.
Yeah.
Drummer is responsible for all of these relationships falling apart. Sounds like he's the one who disbanded the band because he couldn't handle his own music.
He unfollowed him on social. He's already made it clear he doesn't want to be friends with your husband in his own childish way. Let him have that. Does your husband have no friends?
He has friends, but yeah, like people that he would jam with, they all live in the city, and it's about 45-minute drive to come out here, and it's just a logistic thing. But
does he need to jam?
I guess it is
he
hard to find a
hasn't been
drummer
for the last few years, but
The drummer is hard to find. I mean, he picked the wrong guy. Yeah, it's hard to
the
find
wrong
a drummer.
band. Of
It's
course, the
hardest
drummer's the
to
one
find.
cheating on his wife.
You can say, I mean, look, if your husband wants to jam real bad, and I understand, he can reach out to the guy and be like, hey, listen, bygones be bygones. You want to jam. Like, I have no issue with that.
Want to jam?
Yeah. It's all about jamming, though. There's nothing else. They finish jamming, they go home, their separate ways.
Yeah.
That's fine. But he doesn't. Oh, this
Yeah,
guy is.
it pains me a little. What does your husband want to do? He does want to rekindle a friendship.
He wants to jam.
I don't know that he's like super serious about rekindling a friendship. He just wants to jam. Basically.
Yeah, he wants to jam.
Because I've said, well, if you feel that strongly about it, why don't you reach out to him? And he said, well, he deleted me off social media, so obviously he you
know what?
Oh my God, your impression of your husband is a hardcore Canadian accent.
I know, you're more Canadian. You're like a Canadian person doing more Canadian for your husband. It's funny.
You should hear his accent then.
Sounds Canadian.
I say this to question number 3. Have him reach out. Get it off his chest. Like, know for certain whether he can jam or not jam. I think it's worth it. This guy loves to jam, and I respect that. And honestly, this may be the only guy within 100 miles you can jam with.
Well, and it's possible your husband's the only guy within 100 miles who drummer can jam
That's true.
with.
They may need each other for jamming and nothing else. Make the jam, reach out, and then if it doesn't work, forget about it for life.
I don't get the impression, like, I think the right thing here would be for drummer to, break the ice.
But that's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen because drummer is a baby.
He's a baby.
He's a baby.
But he's a good drummer.
He is a good drummer.
Okay. I
could tell he's a good drummer.
I will give, not that my stamp of approval means anything, but okay, if your husband wants to send a bygones be bygones, want to jam message, he is permitted to do so. But that is the extent to which
I would encourage
this
it.
can go.
You know what? Let him take the high road. But I just want to make it clear, this is only about jamming.
And the only reason I am saying this is because I think, I think that there is something sacred about jamming.
Separate the art from the relationship.
Yeah.
It's like when one of your favorite artists, does something terrible, some horrible crime. I'm able to say, you know what? That's something else. I still can appreciate the art. I think this is the same thing. Separate the crime from the art. If he wants to jam and this guy's open to it, let them do it. They don't have to get beers and become friends. And maybe honestly, they do become friends. You know what? That's okay too. Because this guy's not the devil. He's just a child.
And the most important thing here is that his ex-wife appears to be very happy. She has moved on. If she were local, still really upset about it, hung up on it, then maybe it would be kind of more of a betrayal to her. But if it's just about jamming,
so be it.
I do think that hobbies
very important
are very important.
Yeah.
So okay,
they rise above morality sometimes.
I just think there's something sacred about jamming and hobbies. Yeah. Is that what you were expecting us to say, Sally?
Well, she had another question.
No, that was the third question.
Oh, yeah. Well, the other one you kind of answered already, which is what do you think about the bro code? Because him saying like, I
case by
breaking
case.
The bro code kind of makes me feel like, yeah.
It's case by case.
And the only reason he regrets breaking the bro code is because he misses jamming. Yeah, it's not because you did anything wrong.
Yeah. Everyone's happy except for drummer. Do you want to wait at the pharmacy or get with the program with apostrophe?
That's good, Andy. I don't want to wait in line at the pharmacy.
I don't want to ever be at the pharmacy.
I don't like waiting in lines, I'm going to be honest.
Lines stink.
And that's why apostrophe is so revolutionary, because you get to not only not wait in line at the pharmacy, but also wait in line at the doctor or the dermatologist for prescription skincare. Because with apostrophe, it's a platform that connects you with board-certified dermatologists so you can fill out their online skin consultation, take selfies of your skin, type out what your skincare concerns are, and that could be fine lines, wrinkles, it could be maybe dark spots, it could be acne, and not just face acne, it could be chest knee, back knee, and butt knee. And then a board-certified dermatologist will review all that information and then prescribe you prescription skincare. They do both oral and topical. And as proof, I have my prescription tretinoin right here. It has my name on it. As you can see, the name of the dermatologist. It's 0.05% tretinoin with 4% niacinamide.
And people may think they can get the same results from over the counter.
No.
But they are sorely mistaken.
Sorely mistaken. There's no comparison. I've said before that prescription tretinoin changed my skin. I'm not the only person. I mean, you can read a million articles written by dermatologists and various doctors and skincare experts about how prescription skincare is a step up for your skin. And for me, it really cleared up little bumps along my jawline. I don't get as bad acne. I mean, it's just, I would never go back. That's all I can say.
Oh, and how much time have you spent at the pharmacy?
Since apostrophe came along, very little.
I know how much you like hanging out there, but you can't anymore.
So we have a very special deal for our listeners, the Shandies, right now. You can get your first visit with an apostrophe provider for only $5 when you go to apostrophe.com/Shandy and enter promo code Shandy at checkout. That is a savings of $15, and this offer is only available to our listeners.
To get started, just go to apostrophe.com/Shandy and click Get Started.
Then use our code Shandy at sign up and you'll get your first visit for only $5. And we thank Apostrophe for sponsoring this episode.
Broke code, as I said, if just from a bro, I'm not a bro, but I understand bro code. If he was cheating on her and treating her like a queen, I would say bro code's intact there. That was not the case. So forget about the bro code. He committed the felony. The felony is treating her like shit. It's all off the table.
I still think it's debatable because I think she, it wasn't a one-time thing. It wasn't one time that he cheated on her. It was an ongoing thing. I don't know. I'm just opening.
Okay, I'm making a case that there could be bro code.
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
But in this case, no bro code.
Yes.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
He's a bad guy doing bad things.
Yeah, and really, what your husband misses is jamming.
Yeah, and I think, you know what? I see this ending with him jamming. I think there's going to be jamming in the future. I see it.
Do you picture jamming, Sally?
I don't know with the drummer, but maybe. I mean,
does he have a jammer? Does he have someone to jam with, this drummer? Maybe he has no one to jam with. In a town of 10,000 people, I bet you this drummer is jamless.
There's not a big music community here.
I think they need each other.
Sally, was everything we said what you expected us to say? How did this go differently than you expected?
I think you were a bit more passionate in your answers than I thought. And I think that I
have you seen Dear Shandy?
I have, but sometimes you guys are like kind of torn and you debate it more, but you guys were pretty like solid on what you thought about this one. And I didn't expect you to say maybe he should try to rekindle, but I don't mind that.
Yeah, well, if you don't mind, I feel like what that shows is a love for each other. You and your husband sound awesome together. I got to tell you.
Yeah,
I
think you guys are doing well.
And the fact that he's not like he's not mad at you for telling drummer's ex-wife. He's more mad at himself because he's like, oh, I lost my jamming buddy. Yeah. And now you're like, you could be the kind of wife who's like, no, you can't be friends with that cheating scumbag, blah, blah. But you're like, no, but my husband really misses jamming. Like, it just shows like a mutual respect and like a separation of, someone's bad behavior and like how involved they have to really be in your life. And I just think that's a beautiful thing. And so you can honor his need to jam.
Absolutely. Let him jam.
Thank you.
Again, somehow this feels Canadian to me. Don't know how, but it always ends up being Canadian when we have a Canadian.
What about this question is Canadian?
It's Canadian. Admit it, it's Canadian.
It's not.
It is. It's Canadian.
It's only Canadian because if she had never said that they lived in Canada, you would never associate this with being Canadian.
I think I might have suspected Canadianness.
Only because she's so nice.
Maybe that's it. I'm lying. I don't think this is Canadian.
Okay, well, Sally, thank you so much for trusting us with this very long-term question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Generational question.
Yeah, and please, I hope that you feel lighter after this and no longer thinking that there is even a slight possibility that you were ever the asshole.
No.
Thank you. I appreciate your advice so much. You guys give really good advice. So.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for saying that. Have a great, if you are where I think you are, have a great afternoon. I'm not sure where
Edmonton?
you are.
It's the same time as you.
Outside of Edmonton?
Oh, it's the same time as us. Okay, I'm way off. Oh,
outside of Toronto.
Okay, who knows?
Outside of Toronto.
Okay, well, have a great evening then.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Woo. Okay. Did that really feel Canadian to you?
Yeah.
Why?
This is cute. There's something cute, even though it's kind of gross in a way. It's cute. It ends up being about jamming. Two adult men wanting to jam together.
Yeah.
That's Canadian to me.
Well, there's something wholesome about it, about the wanting to jam. Like even her husband's just like, even the husband feels almost petulant. He's like, I wish I hadn't told you because then I'd still get to jam.
Is that not Canadian?
I guess
I don't know why you fault me on that so much.
It's hard for me to say. Maybe I'm too close. Like being Canadian, I see it for what it is, and not through her impression of her husband, which was a very strong Canadian accent.
Yeah, but I think that if you boil it down, what happened here is that somebody cheated on someone, got a divorce, and then the person who feels responsible for breaking up that marriage wants to jam with that person. Is that not Canadian to you? I feel it is.
I loved this question.
Yeah, this is a good one.
This was actually, this was a happy ending. Am I crazy? The fact that the wife, I was so worried she was going to say that the wife still lives in the neighborhood and is like regrets or something. It really affected her self-esteem. Yeah. To know that she totally moved on and is better for it.
So great.
I'm like, that's just great.
And you know what? Good chance that would not have happened had she not told her what was going on.
Well, that's the thing. There's two ways to analyze what she did. She was like, what I told her directly led to them getting a divorce. Like, sure, you can look at it through that lens, but you could also look at it through what I told her led her to starting a new life with someone else and starting a family and all these great things.
And you know what? I'm going to say something about the bro code, because the bro code doesn't only go one way. The bro code goes both ways, in the sense that if you are around someone all the time and involved in cheating and other bad things, you are basically forcing on them a lie. So
that's
you're
a good
forcing
point.
them to lie.
Well, you're making a good point, because this isn't the sort of bad behavior that Drummer pulled Sally's husband aside and was like, hey, dude, I'm going to tell you something, but you can't tell anyone. He was inflicting his bad behavior on Sally's husband.
Yeah.
He was doing it in his presence and not really giving him a choice. I think that there's a difference, because in one situation, Sally's husband can be like, okay, yeah, we're close enough. Okay, yeah, you're going to tell me something. And like, I'm not going to tell anyone. This is an agreement. But in this case, it was, like I said, it was inflicted on him just by his proximity to the situation.
And now he's forced to lie for the rest of his life.
To his wife.
That goes against the reverse bro code, which is don't put upon your bros a lifetime of lying.
Yes. Totally.
And that's that. So he did nothing wrong.
It's true. He was not a good bro in the first place.
It's not like they went, like it was like his bachelor party and, he, whatever, hooked up with some girl on his bachelor party. And he's like, God, just don't tell my wife.
I'm sorry,
this.
any man.
That's different.
And
it's still not great. I don't know. Bachelor party, to me, no interest. I never wanted a bachelor party. It's just, I don't understand. It's stupid. It's antiquated.
Oh. I think it's just more of like a last hurrah. I know, that's the thing.
I'll do my last hurrah on my own. I'll do it on my own. I don't need a bunch of guys there. If I want a last hurrah, it's just me and the person. I mean, like all my friends watching.
It's funny. Drummer is, in some ways, he's just so simple.
So simple.
I feel like I know exactly who that person is, and he sounds like, I hate to say it, like he does sound sexist. The fact that he couldn't conceive that Sally's husband would tell Sally this. It's like, who does he think he is?
It's just super sloppy.
Well, it's sloppy, but it also shows such a lack of respect for the wife, for the husband, wife, for the partnership.
Yeah, but also, why is he in that
which he couldn't
marriage?
Possibly understand. Exactly.
Why is he in that?
Exactly.
What is he doing?
He doesn't respect his wife, so he doesn't understand how his bro might his.
This guy needs to grow up.
Or maybe just jam.
Or not grow up and jam. I agree.
I can picture some people listening to this and being like, no, the husband shouldn't reach out. But I really do think there's something sacred, about jamming, about like the creation of music, and about hobbies, and the fact that these two things are intertwined. I would like to think that bygones can be bygones and they can just do that for the pure activity that it is.
There have been very many strange bedfellows in international politics over the last few hundred years. Sometimes alliances are made between hostile enemies because they have a common goal. And you know what? The common goal here is jamming, and I approve of the alliance.
Okay. All right, Andy, we have another lovely caller.
We do.
Her name is Kat. Kat, thank you so much for joining us.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Do you mind giving us your age, the ages of anyone in the story, and your location, whatever you're comfortable sharing, and your story, please?
So I am 35, and the two girlfriends are ages 40 and 38, and I'm in Central Florida.
Okay.
So I'm calling because I recently got married a couple of months ago, and these two friends are from the same friend group, and it just so happens that I felt kind of disrespected by both in the wedding process. The first friend, we'll call her M, she's 40, and we had kind of distanced ourselves a little bit unintentionally, but the person she's dating, I I don't necessarily feel comfortable around him. And ever since then, we kind of grew apart. But when I was getting married, I asked her daughter to be a flower girl because she is my goddaughter, legally like signed the paperwork and everything. And I bought her a necklace and a little gift and she accepted, but then I didn't really hear much from her during the process. And then the day of the wedding, when she was obviously supposed to show up and have her daughter there as the flower girl, which kids were not allowed at our wedding except for the flower girls, she walked in the bridal suite with her daughter like 10 minutes before the ceremony. We're all getting lined up, getting ready to go. I'd been wondering where she was. And then she comes in with her daughter, not in the flower girl dress. And she just says, yeah, we got our dress dirty, so we're not going to be a flower girl today. And I just didn't really know how to respond to that. I kind of froze and then just looked at her daughter and said, oh, Audrey, what happened? And she kind of turned away, and then her mom just said she got food on it and then left.
Yeah, I'm a little speechless.
How dirty was his dress?
I know.
Well, and
that's a really good question.
Matron of honor, her daughter, who's younger, was also a flower girl, and she, like, luckily her husband stepped in and he was a flower man, which was amazing. But even she was saying, you don't put the dress on your daughter before you even get there. And they were texting each other, my matron of honor and this other friend. And she had told my matron of honor that they were washing it and that's why they were running late. And then she texted her later saying they forgot the dress.
Wait, so she lied to you?
This friend, has she exhibited this type of behavior in the past?
I feel like ever since her and her fiance got together, she's been a little unhappy, I guess. We've only had one other kind of negative reaction in the past when there were the three of us, me and the two girlfriends. We were supposed to get together for the first time. And what I thought was going to be just the three of us in like 3 years, because she has two daughters. And when we were texting, finally nailed down a date, she said, me and the girls will be there. And I had texted her separately just saying, do you think we could just do us girls like adults? Because it's been so long. And then she got mad at me, didn't answer me for a whole day.
Ooh,
and I feel really uncomfortable with your response and that you asked me not to have the girls there.
Ooh, that's a strong reaction. Considering it sounds like you just wanted to spend time with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of my friends live far away. I didn't grow up where I live now. And I work in healthcare in the hospital setting. So, it was nice to have girlfriends that are outside of that live in the area, because you can like disconnect from the stress of the hospital and things. And I just wanted to spend time with my adult girlfriends without a 4-year-old and a 6-month-old.
Shame on you.
Shame.
I asked my friends at work who have kids, I said, I want to word this properly. I don't want this to come out the wrong way, but I'd like to I don't want to go to happy hour with her and her kids.
Totally understandable. Okay. So
I do have one more question.
Oh, yeah.
When she said this to you 10 minutes before the ceremony of your wedding, first of all, congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did it feel like she was scolding her daughter? Did she say like, well, someone's not a flower girl because someone got her dress dirty? Did it feel like it was more for her daughter?
No, it just looks like,
deal with it.
It looks like she came up with an excuse. My mom doesn't even think she got the flower girl dress ever.
Was she apologetic? Was she kind of like, oh, I'm so not at all? And how many people were at your wedding? What was the size of the wedding?
It was a smaller wedding. We just had 90 people there.
That's a perfectly good sized wedding.
Is that small? Is that a small wedding?
I know it's a medium wedding to me. It's a good medium size.
I felt like it was a good size.
Yeah.
Like we were able to have it not too large where we couldn't say.
What I'm saying is, if you had like 6 people there for your wedding and you didn't have the flower girl, you could be like, whatever, who cares? Yeah. 90 people, it's like, that's a big deal. It's like having a movie shoot and the star doesn't come to the movie, or at least a very strong supporting character. Or maybe like not, one of the people that's in the movie. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that's M, correct? The 40-year-old friend with 2 children. Okay, yes. Can we hear about the other friend and how this all ties together?
Kay, she and I were even closer than me and M. Like the 3 of us would sometimes hang out, but then me and Kay, we were much closer. We would hang out much more often. She had started dating someone new. We had grown apart a little bit, and then it was kind of back and forth with that. But I had first reconnected with her when I got engaged because I didn't want her to find out. So through social media, I had texted her and she goes, "Oh, I thought you were done with our friendship." And I said, "No, I would try to get together with you and I never heard back. So that's why we haven't seen each other." We eventually, got on a good page and we still weren't seeing each other that often, but things were fine. I invited her obviously to the wedding and to the bridal shower. She came to the bridal shower. She did not bring anything or get anything, which my mom was really upset about. And then it was funny because she texted me saying, "Thank you for the gift." Because I gave everyone a little like thank you box with like treats and things. And I was like, "You're welcome." I didn't get anything, but that's fine. And then at the wedding, I was debating about giving her a +1. Initially, when I invited her to the wedding, she wasn't dating anyone. She had started seeing someone who I met and I really liked her. I thought she was really good for her. And it was finally like a new relationship that was positive. And I wanted to be supportive. So even though obviously weddings are expensive and we're paying for the wedding ourselves, I said, I want everyone to have a good time. I'll invite her significant other and let her come. And her brother came in her place because her significant other had a family emergency. And she came to the wedding. Things were fine. But then she didn't get us a gift or a card. And I just kind of felt like it was a little disrespectful. I mean, I know obviously things aren't all about gifts and such, but she used to be very thoughtful. She had gotten me housewarming gifts and she'd always try to get together and, when we were good, take me to lunch or breakfast for my birthday. And so I just felt odd about it, that it just wasn't like her.
Does she live far away?
No. She lives here.
Okay. And the wedding was local?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your question?
I just am not sure, because I am the type of person, I don't like to leave things unsaid. And if I am upset about something, I like to discuss it, but then I don't feel like there's a nice way to say, why did you choose not to get us anything or think that it was like proper? I just feel like it's odd. And even my friends have said, "Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why she didn't get you anything." But
so in the hierarchy of fouls, I think your friends.
Oh no, I want to hear her rank them.
Oh, okay. Who do you think committed the worst foul?
Kay is the 38-year-old friend?
Yes.
Kay? Okay. Did Kay commit any other fouls since you rekindled your friendship, reconnected, other than attending both of these festivities and not getting you a gift? Have there been any other fouls?
I don't think necessarily like strict fouls. She has canceled getting together last minute. And that has been a hard thing with her ever since she's been in these relationships. Is I always try to make myself available and stick with plans, and she's canceled, but nothing, that I would say is a direct foul. But it's just, I think it's another thing in a long line of things that have happened where I feel like it's just me giving a little bit more than receiving, I think.
Okay.
And would you consider these two, let's say you have 3 layers of friends. You have inner, middle, and periphery. Are these like really deep inner circle friends?
I would say they were when we first became friends. Like from 2019 to 2021-ish, maybe 2022, very, very close.
Okay.
But then the past couple of years have really been a little more on the periphery, like hard to spend time with.
So
and I want to hear her rank the fouls.
Okay, and this one last thing, then we'll do the ranking. We'll do the ranking.
Okay.
Right. So you have inner circle friends, I'm assuming? Like you're happy with your inner circle. So, okay, I guess my first question before the ranking is why do you need these people? Why are you so gung-ho on keeping these people in your inner circle? It seems like, because otherwise you wouldn't be calling into a podcast. Like, I don't feel, I'm getting the feeling from you that this isn't podcast worthy based on the fact that they're not really inner circle friends anymore.
But she wants to bring it to the surface because she wants to talk things out. Like she wants to air her grievances.
Okay, that's fine. We'll get to that. Okay. Let's get to the rank. Let's get to the ranking now. Which one is a more greater foul?
In your opinion?
Oh, hands down, the flower girl situation.
Okay, good. We agree on that. Okay.
Okay, next.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. I do not think a conversation needs to be had with the gift. I think.
Oh, you skipped ahead. Okay, I wanted to hear her rank.
She did the rank.
She ranked. I want to hear the other two ranked.
No, there's only one rank.
No, well, the other friend. Oh, to me, the other friend, I feel like also
I don't even
the
care
other
about
foul
her.
was her wanting to hang out just with her and not her children.
I can't. We got to focus on most important friends here. Okay, so the friend who didn't get you the gift, forget about it. Just take that as a sign that, like, just put her in the outer circle. I don't see the. That's not a conversation.
No, I completely agree. And I think that there could be more there that maybe, like, I don't know what your financial situation is, or like, your husband's financial situation. Like I just feel like there are other dynamics here. I don't know what her financial situation is. Mm-hmm. It's possible that, and I'm not giving her a pass, but it's possible she thinks that you don't need a gift, or that maybe she's struggling and maybe can't afford a
$20 gift certificate at Denny's. You could just get her something. She's going to a wedding.
I know, but I just think that there are people who, if from her vantage point, the couple is like has everything and she's struggling, then maybe she's just not thinking like, oh, there's anything I can give that is
fine. We'll give her a pass, but it's a weak pass.
I mean, not necessarily. I think that the gift thing is just you file it away. It didn't affect you negatively. I think it was more the gesture you wanted to feel thought about. You said that she has once been very thoughtful. And I get the impression that a card would have meant a lot, or just something. Card. So I know I'm agreeing. All I'm saying is that there could be more roots to that tree than any of us know. And that I think you should just take that for the information that it is, not hold it against her, but also maybe show a little more curiosity as to, like, it sounds like Kay, in my opinion, it sounds like Kay's going through something. Just her.
It does sound like it.
It does. There's this, she's canceling last minute. And I know that can be really annoying. And she's attending these expensive events and not even bringing a card. That can also be annoying. It just, if we were to lead with a bit of like empathy, I just feel like it sounds like Kay is going through something, and that can or cannot be your problem. It doesn't sound like she's really bringing enough to this friendship for it to become your problem. She's also not telling you about it. All I'm saying is that I think that not bringing a gift, I agree with you. In short, I don't think it needs addressing.
I don't think it needs addressing. You have to ask yourself a question. This is the issue here. It's not about who committed the worst foul or whether you should talk to them or not. The question is, do you want to be close friends with either of these people? Do you want to be close friends with either of these people? Do you want them in your life in a very tight manner? Do you want that?
I think that is kind of my biggest conundrum, because like my birthday was a few weeks after the wedding, and Kay, for example, texted me happy birthday and asked to get together. And because I was still kind of processing and not knowing what to think or feel about the situation, I just said, oh, thank you, for wishing me happy birthday. And I didn't even address the getting together thing.
So there's no I can tell right now that the relationship you have with Kay is a relationship of very weak communication. There's a lot of maybe passive aggression that you don't know. Like maybe she was sending you a signal with this thing with her daughter, and you didn't even read it because you guys don't communicate well.
That's M.
Sorry, M. Sorry, it's a lot. It's a lot today.
And Kay is the friend who did text her happy birthday.
Okay.
And asked to get together.
Okay.
I want to hear her talk for a second. Do you have any interjections?
I think listening to your guys' podcast and hearing maybe some things about other friendships, adult friendships, there's been times where it's a question of, is it kind of worth the stress or to keep the friendship? And then what do you do to end the friendship? You just let it go and diminish, or do you just address it and say, I need space? And for me, I think that is where I am at with these two. Is with Kay, it's been so much inconsistency from someone that we were so close. We could talk about anything, politics, religion, children, our loved ones. We could go have fun. We had such a good bond, and I hadn't had a good girlfriend like that in a while. So when she disappeared the first time, when she got in a relationship that was maybe a little more unhealthy, I was very hurt by that. And I had addressed it with her, and I sat her down and I said, listen, you did kind of hurt me because I had reached out so much to try to still spend time with you. And then, you disappeared. And then it's been so up and down since then that I'm just kind of to a point where it's like, does she value me as a friend? And should I keep trying to be friends with her and keep trying to spend time when it's not really happening?
So it sounds like your friends get in relationships and things go sideways.
I have thoughts on the Kay thing. I think that it sounds like Kay's relationships are a central point of her life and that she's going through a lot. And I don't know. And I don't even know if she's fully aware of. I just wonder if you getting married, you're having your wedding. It sounds like, you're very happy in your relationship. We can never fully know how that affects our friends if that is the department in which they struggle. So I think we can all agree that Kay's fouls here deserve a recategorization of the friendship, but not a cutting off of the friendship. I definitely think that, you don't need to put in any more effort than you have been. I want to focus on M. I feel like what M did at your wedding is absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah.
And the way she did it, the way in which she did it is almost worse than... Yeah. Had it been a good reason, or had she even just been honest and been like, I've been so frazzled lately. I'm sorry. I'm in over my head. We forgot the dress. Please forgive me. Let me make it up to you somehow. I feel like you would have been like, okay, that sucks, but what are you going to do?
The no apology really gets me.
And the lying.
And
who knows? Maybe she wasn't lying. I feel like she was lying, personally.
It almost sounds like substance abusey. Like it sounds unacceptable. It's out of bounds.
Yeah, it does sound out of bounds.
I feel like she's become kind of untrustworthy in a sense. Her fiance struggles with substance abuse. When they first got together, his license was suspended from DUIs and things. And I just felt like when she was saying to me what she said about the dress being dirty, I just couldn't believe what she was saying. And then the fact that she said something different to my matron of honor and wasn't even consistent in her rationale and not apologizing. I just couldn't figure out what to say. And my mom, she goes, I'm so proud of you. You could have bridezillaed on her and kept your composure. Because in my mind at that moment, I was like, you know what? I'm so excited for this day and I'm going to have an amazing time. I'm just going to let this go for now. And,
nice. Good for you.
No, it's a strong move. Very strong move. Smart. I agree with you. I think there's something to explore with M. And I think that it's possible that M is in a rough place right now. And I think that I think this is worth you saying, hey, take her up on her offer to hang out. Or
that was Kay's offer.
God, for God's sake.
She did try to reach out. At one point, she texted Kay and I together, which is very common. And I was busy at the time.
Okay, so there you go. So I got a pass there.
You were accidentally right.
Just skated under. Okay, so reach out to her and see if she wants to hang out. And I think that there's a talk here. And I think you might be able to couch that talk in like, is everything okay terms? And then you're like, I just want to let you know, I was really upset by this.
Or I was hurt.
I was hurt. And I just, I didn't understand what happened. And I was wondering if, we could talk about that, real nice, not confrontational. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth doing that.
I think it'll be just based on what I feel like I know about you. And you said you're the kind of person that wants to talk it out. Like, sounds like you're direct in a good way. Like, that actually does build really strong friendships when people don't just sweep it under the rug and they actually talk about it. Yeah. And I feel like the K is a separate matter. And I think that can be sort of surface level for now. But Em, I feel like it's worth it for you to bring it up, if only to air your grievance.
Yeah.
It's your wedding day, and I'm not saying that that's like the most important day of someone's life. It is for some people, but like there's so much work that goes into a wedding day, and it really is an honor to have named her daughter your flower girl. It does feel disrespectful.
It was textbook disrespectful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And disrespectful without apology. Like on people's weddings on people's wedding days, you apologize for everything. Like I'll apologize for anything on someone's wedding day. Like this, no apology. Come on.
Yeah.
I think you should hash this out.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't create the hangout based on hashing something out. I would just say, hey, I want to hang out. I haven't seen you in a while. Let's hang out, and bring it up while you're hanging out. Say, is everything okay? Like, how are you doing? Find out. Maybe she'll open her heart and be like, oh my God, it's been a disaster. I've been,
I don't know if I picture
on junk. I don't know what's happening with my life. But I think that you need to take the high road. This is a high vibrational choice. You need to have this conversation with her.
Well, and I'm curious about how she's going to react based on how she reacted when you said, I would prefer it if your children don't come to happy hour.
I know. I think I'm like, that's why I'm so nervous about how to approach it, because and then I'm also like, how am I even going to talk to her one-on-one? Because, that went over really well last time.
Well, so how interesting is that? Do you feel like if a friend brought this up with you, that you would, you would be open to listening and not get defensive? So I feel like that's very telling. Like, you reach a point, and for me, actually, it was around 35, if I'm totally honest, where you start paying attention to which friendships you can actually speak your mind in and truly express how you feel, and when you are disappointed and are hurt. And it is fascinating which friends are like, oh my God, I had no idea, or like, I can't, like, I'm so sorry. How can I make it up to you? Let's talk about it. Because they care and they want to preserve the friendship. And which friends are like, how dare you? Like,
defensive.
Like,
or dismissive.
Yes.
And you don't need those friends in your life as an adult. As a child, sure, they're fine.
Yeah, in your early 20s.
Yeah, but as an adult, no. And I think it's possible, honestly, I smell the slightest hint of her holding some sort of resentment for that initial snub of her daughter. And she, in her own way, paid you back by screwing you
did
over
that happen
with
before the wedding?
With her daughter as the weapon.
I think that happened around 6 months before the wedding. I had seen her one time after that. We went to look at Christmas lights with her daughters and her significant other. And I had actually texted her after that, because he kind of like snapped at everyone. He kind of yelled at her out of nowhere. And I had texted her the next day saying, hey, I'm just checking in. Are you okay? And she said, oh yeah, he just gets overwhelmed in crowds, and the baby was crying. And I said, okay, I don't know him that well. It seemed a little abrupt. I just want to make sure, that you're fine.
Yeah.
And
something's going on there. I think.
And that's what I, have worried about, is that because she was also like a very nurturing, giving, loving person, hardworking, and same thing. Like, I've just seen that change where she just seems unhappy, very dependent on being with him and the daughters, and no longer, she always cherished like girl time. We used to do like girl dinners that we'd all like get together and cook different things. And, so it's
Look,
sad to see.
it is sad. And if you can't get together with her, try to maybe have a long phone call with her. Because I'm saying if you can't get together with her without her daughter, then because you can't have this conversation in front of her daughter.
Correct.
So just have it over the phone. But I think this is a good conversation to have. And I would love to know what goes on in this. And to be very frank. Find out if there's something going on in her family life or her personal life.
Yeah.
And then move on to I was hurt by this. Can we talk about it? I'm really curious. I think you'll get a lot from this. And it'll make you feel good because the truth, you're going to be the truth teller and you're going to see if she's willing to meet you there. And then she'll be a good friend. If not, then
you're good.
She goes to the balcony seats.
Also, I want to quickly touch on how rare it is to have a friend as honest as you seem to be. I think that there's a lot of, niceties and especially in these like girlfriend dynamics. And I commend you for asking her to hang out, not because you don't enjoy her children's company, but just because you wanted to hang out with her, her as your friend, not the mother of her children. I think that a lot of women would really cherish a friendship like that. And so I don't know. I appreciate that about you. And I think it should be appreciated by your friends.
Yeah. I just, I think her relationship too is a little triggering for me because my stepfather was an alcoholic and, my brother had some addiction problems. And I just worry. I know what it's like to live with someone who is that way. And so I just worry,
I think the fact that I brought that up without knowing anything and the fact that you're bringing that up now, that says something. I think something's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That behavior doesn't sound like sober behavior to me. And if it is sober behavior, it's sober behavior with someone who's in a partnership with someone who's extremely volatile.
Yeah.
Someone who's acting unnatural, not true to themselves.
With M, I feel you can lead with love while also expressing how you've been hurt. You can do both at the same time. Yeah. It's not a criticism. It's like it can really open. Who knows? Maybe it can open her eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Kat.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Good. I'm definitely nervous to talk to her.
I know.
I'm kind of nervous too, honestly.
I'm nervous. It's the worst. It's the worst. But you'll feel so good when it's over and probably during as well. And no matter what happens, it's a good outcome. That's the great thing about these talks.
Yeah.
If you ever have a talk like this, if you're really genuinely hurt, and in this case, it's so obvious that you have a right to be hurt. You're not being weird or too sensitive. You're hurt because someone did a hurtful thing. And if you bring that up with them, if they're a real friend, they're going to recognize that and have that talk. If they fight you on it, the answer to what this relationship is. So you're going to win no matter what. When you have this conversation, you just have to pull the Band-Aid off. And I think it's 100% worth it. And I can be avoidant and I often give avoidant advice. I have no issue with that. Sometimes I'm like, it's not worth it. It's not worth the
Sometimes
the
it's
pain.
not worth it.
It's not worth the pain. Not worth the effort.
I think with Kay, it's not necessarily worth it.
I agree. That's what I said.
Yeah.
I got them confused, but I did know Kay was the one that was not worth the conversation.
Do you have any other thoughts, Kat, before we let you go?
Should I maybe to try to get together with Em? I do still have to write her thank you card from the wedding because she did send us money for the honeymoon fund. Should I just in the letter write can we get together?
You can, but that's not a strong communication. Okay. I think you should call her.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go direct.
Just don't mix apples and oranges. Just leave the thank you note and the call about meeting up or talking on the phone.
Agreed.
Yeah. Because even writing the thank you note, I've been like, what do I say? Because yes, she gave us a contribution to our honeymoon fund, but then
I would say write the most passive aggressive thank you note. No, I'm just kidding.
She should say, I value our friendship. Yeah. Thank you for the gift.
Which is passive aggressive.
Hope
anything you write is going to be passive aggressive. It's true. She has no choice.
But I think you can lead with love. I value our friendship. Can't wait to see you soon.
At least I value our friendship. All right.
Okay,
Anyway,
Kat.
good luck. Tell us what happens. Give us an update.
Please.
Yeah,
We'd love to
I
know.
will.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Have
right.
a great night. Thank you so much
All
for calling in.
Thank you
Okay.
guys.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Whew.
All right.
Okay, that was interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I feel like her question really sums up a sort of like chapter of life. You know,
chapter of life.
Yeah, she's 35.
The
She just got
transition
married.
from young adulthood to adulthood.
Yeah, and one of these friends is married with children. Another one is sort of like in a bunch of tumultuous relationships.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting. You start to feel like some people, there's a little push and pull. And I think there's, like I said, like roots to some of these trees that maybe even the tree doesn't know about necessarily.
Yeah.
And
And some
I
of
think,
those roots are rotten.
yeah, some of those roots, you know, some of them maybe should be brought to the surface and maybe some of them are best left like that. You know, like,
I think most roots should stay below the surface for the health of the tree.
well, there comes a point, you know, when you are giving so much in a friendship. It does sound like Kat is a giving friend.
Yeah. She sounds like a very good friend.
And she sounds very direct, which,
Yeah.
you know, some people can't handle that. Some people
her
hear
crime
it.
is wanting to hang out with her friend without her children.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on.
I know. But I do think I can picture some mothers having a sort of default knee jerk, like,
Well, it depends how you approach it. If you're like, oh, I don't want to hang out with your
yeah, which I
daughters."
don't picture her
No,
doing.
she was probably super nice.
Yeah.
And she was overreacting, no question, to her friend.
Yeah.
No, she seems great. And for that reason, I'm willing to give the advice that you can peel these people off if necessary.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think one of them is like, whatever, I don't care.
Okay.
Yes. M, I feel this is, I think, purely for curiosity. She should have this conversation alone. But I think there's also something maybe there. Maybe she's going to spill her heart out to her.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, thank you for this. I needed this. I'm going through a really hard time. I'm really sorry. It could turn out to be a bonanza of good things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel with Kay, I do feel like they're both going through something, both Kay and M.
I agree.
But I wonder if Kay is having issues in her romantic relationships and it's, you know, just sort of a painful thing for her to be surrounded by friends who are getting married or, you know, pairing off or whatever. And I think the gift thing, there could be many reasons. I agree it's not proper etiquette, you know, and weddings are expensive. She gave her a +1, all the things. I don't think it's worth bringing to the surface. It feels like it could sort of shame her and who knows what reasons she has. And if the reason is just that she's like incredibly self-involved because of what's going on in her life, then you can just let that be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's like when someone forgets to say happy birthday. You know, if someone forgets my birthday, like a good friend doesn't say happy birthday, I don't say anything. I just never speak to them again. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, well, Andy, I think that's a wrap for this one.
Yeah. Florida.
Yes. Why'd you bring that up, Andy?
I don't know. Just it's a good state. Not a good citrus.
Yes.
Make a great citrus in
Yes.
Florida.
Strong orange.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Good humidity.
Okay. All right. This is a wrap. If you enjoyed what you heard today, you know what we will ask of you, and that is to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow us on Instagram, and
TikTok.
leave us Apple and
Spotify.
podcast ratings and reviews. Tell your friends and generally do all the things you would do to support a podcast you enjoy. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Dear Shandy. Bye-bye.